Hello, second graders. Today we are going to learn a new strategy, okay, of comprehension. Who can tell me what comprehension is? Ooh, very good. Very good, yes. So comprehension is to understand what you're reading, right? Very good. Okay, so first, let's talk about where this strategy came from, okay? So there was a nice lady named Chris Tavani, okay? She made a comprehension reading strategy called So What? That's kind of odd, isn't it? So what? How does that make you feel when I say so what? Aubrey. Yeah, it's kind of mean, right? Well, that's kind of how it started. So Miss Tavani actually had a student in her classroom when some students would answer a question about like a connection they made from a story. That little girl would, well, she was kind of older. That girl would be like, so what? And like that really put those students down and made them feel bad. Like, oh, well, I guess so what? But Miss Tavani actually turned that into something. She turned that into a reading strategy, okay? And that's what we're going to use today. So we're going to make a connection, and then we're going to extend. So we're going to be like, so what? Okay? So let's kind of dive deep, okay? So I know we have been working on our story this week, the Birmingham Musicians, okay? So let's use that, okay? Because it's fresh in our mind. So kind of let's talk about that. So first, I want you to think of a connection, okay? First of all, what's a connection? Riley. Ooh, very good. So how we relate to a story, right? So like how can we kind of put ourselves in the story, okay? So like how the characters feel and things like that. Okay, so let's think of a connection. So kind of let's think. Malachi. Okay, so we had the donkey at the beginning of the story, and he was sad because he was growing old, and he heard his, owner talk about how he was going to, get rid of him because, he wasn't able to do any work or anything like that. Okay, how can we make a connection with that? How can we make a connection? Okay. So your grandpa just retired? Okay. So grandpa just retired and he can't work any longer. So grandpa, okay, Malachi. Grandpa is older now. And can't work. Okay, so grandpa is older now and can't work. Okay, so we're making the connection. So Malachi's grandpa and then the donkey. So they're older now and they're not really able to do what they used to be able to do. Okay, so grandpa is older now and can't work. So what? Okay, big deal. He can't work. It's common. Okay, so what? So kind of think about how, like maybe Malachi's grandpa feels and also how the donkey feels. Okay, so what? They feel sad, okay? Okay, they feel sad, okay? Very good, okay? We could kind of say so what again, okay? They feel sad. So they feel sad. So they want a hobby, okay? Okay, Okay, that's good. So they want a hobby. Okay, so what was the donkey's hobby? Yeah, so he wanted to travel and be a musician, okay? Okay, that's good. Okay, Malachi, has your grandpa came up with like a hobby? Yeah, very good. So because he has retired and he's not really able to do the things that he wants to now, he has came up with a hobby. So that would be our so what. So what? Well, he comes up with a hobby and he's not very sad any longer, right? Very good, okay. Okay, so now that we've got that one, let's think of another one. So I know Malachi talked about his grandpa, but let's think of like how we can relate. So sure, we can relate like that, but let's think of like ourselves. How can we relate? Who can tell me? Summer. So when you were little, you had a hobby, okay? Okay, kind of a little more. So when you were little, you had a hobby, okay? So you had a hobby, but you didn't have any friends, so you were alone, okay? Okay, when younger, had a hobby, but had no friends to join, okay? And had no friends. Okay, how does that connect with our story, the Birmingham Musicians, though? So how does that, what's the connection? Okay, Summer. Okay, so the donkey was, had this hobby, and now he was traveling all alone. Oh, okay, so you ended up with friends. Okay, good. Did the donkey end up with friends to be be musicians? Aha, yes, very good. Very good. So they ended up with a hobby and they ended up working together, right? Very good, okay? So once again, when younger, had a hobby and had no friends. Okay, so what? Okay, so we could say was sad, but never gave up. That's good. But never gave up, and soon made friends. And felt happy. Okay, so we can kind of make a connection with that, right? Yes, because the donkey, like, he was kind of sad, he was sad in the first place because, his owner didn't want him anymore, so he was sad. But he was like, okay, I'm going to the Birmingham and I'm going to be a musician. And sure enough, he ended up finding friends to do that with. So he felt happy, okay? So let's kind of go over this again. So connection. Grandpa is older now and can't work. So Grandpa and and the donkey, they feel sad, so they want a hobby, okay? So they wanted a hobby. Very good. Okay, another connection. When younger had a hobby and had no friends. So Summer, when she was younger, she had she had a hobby but didn't have any friends to have fun with them. Very good. Okay, so what? Well, she was sad, but she never gave up and soon made friends and felt happy. Okay, very good. That's very good. So that's kind of how Miss Tavani wanted us to, make the connection. And so what? We want to dive deeper and deeper. And we could have a lot of so whats. Like I say, so what? So what? You, was sad but never gave up and soon have friends. So what? Yes, because then you ended up being together and, y'all grew stronger in, whatever hobby it was. Very good. Yes, so that's what Miss Tavani wants us to know. So it's okay to not really understand the text when you first read it, okay? So when we first read it, some of y'all probably really had no idea what it was even about. So we had to dive deeper and deeper and think about what it was. So good readers reread and return to text and build and extend their knowledge of specific concepts, okay? So they reread, and that's exactly what I want you to do. So that's what Chris Tavani wanted us to do. They wanted us to reread and return to the text and, dive deeper into it. Very good. And build and extend our knowledge of whatever the text may be about. So now I want everyone to get out a sheet of paper and we are going to make this. So we're going to make connections and so what's, okay? So we are going to do that and I'll be walking around the classroom to help you make connections and I'll be the one, so what? So what? Okay guys, very good. Does anyone have any questions? Very good guys, good job.